In the summer of 1940, after evacuation of British expeditionary forces from France, His Majesty's government was afraid of German invasion. It was expected that the Germans would cross the Channel and landed on British soil. Scotland's east coast was the second most vulnerable region to invasion. The resources left to defend Scotland and Northern England were limited to units of Home Guard armed with light weapons. Therefore, the British command sent to Scotland most of the Polish soldiers evacuated from France. By the end of June, there were about 20,000 Polish troops in Scotland. The landing on the Scottish coast would start with heavy artillery shelling at defenders' positions by German Navy ships. To survive the murderous fire, both crew and guns would have to be hidden in the bunkers. Unfortunately, there was no time or resources to build fortification to cover all potential landing sites. It was expected that sea landing would be assisted by aerial landing. German paratroopers would try to take over bridges and railway stations, while the dive bombers would attack main roads. To enable rapid movement of heavy equipment, it was decided to mount it on railway platforms protected by armour. That's how armoured trains were born. On September 17th, Chief Commander General Sikorski gave an order to form 12 armoured trains staffed with Polish soldiers and railway workers to maintain the locomotive. Initially, the armoured train was armed with 2 cannons and 6 machine guns on 2 armoured wagons and 2 platforms, plus support wagons. The trains were continuously modernised. British industry supplied more wagons and armoured vehicles, carriers, as well as additional rifles, and up to 6 cannons. By February 1941, 4 armoured squadrons were formed with 3 trains in each unit. 4th Squadron was deployed to Scotland with trains named J, K and L. Armoured Train L patrolled the north-east coast of Scotland. Train J was allocated to Fife, and Train K monitored the route between Edinburgh and Berwick-upon-Tweed. From the spring, the trains began patrolling designated routes and the crews received intensive training. For example, from the 1st of July to the 30th of September, Squadron 4 carried out 127 out of 130 scheduled patrols. On 9th and 10th of September, the Armoured Train J took part in manoeuvres of the 1st Polish Army Corps under codename Rabbit. Another good example of Polish-Scottish cooperation could be the joint exercise on the night of the 28th to the 29th of September 1941 in combating paratroopers carried out by the L Armoured Train with the British Home Guard. A note from Polish officer criticising the organisation of Scottish railways has been preserved. In order to obtain permission for manoeuvre, the officers have to receive the approval of railway authorities. In 1942, the first tanks were sent to units and intensive training begun first for drivers, then for gunners. This enabled a smooth transition for the crews from Armoured Train to the newly formed 1st Polish Armoured Division. The 4th Scottish Squadron served until July 1942. The other 3 were disbanded by March 1943.